remainder of the tri-state right now, it's just sunny, very warm and humid out there. We have some cumulus overhead, and the temperature is now pushing toward 80 degrees, so we have a lot of energy and moisture in the atmosphere. Dew points above 60 are a no-no when we're expecting severe weather. The tornado watch was also extended to 11 o'clock tonight, so we have several potential waves of moving through, and Michael's been showing you this cluster of severe storms in the extreme northwestern corner of the tri-state. But it's worth noting too, we have a line all the way down into Missouri right now, all with warnings on there, and the expectation is as that moves into a more fertile or suitable environment here, a lot more energy in the atmosphere, these storms are going to intensify, and we will likely see that tornado threat start to pick up just a little bit, not only for the areas where we have tornado warnings now, but also for the remainder of the tri-state. The latest guidance here is showing that line down to about the Wabash River by, say, 5 o'clock. That would be an hour and 15 minutes. That might be a little early, but between 5 and 6 at the Wabash and then into the Evansville metro area sometime in the neighborhood of 6 o'clock. East into Owensboro, Cal City, Hartford a little later than that, perhaps 7 to 8. One thing I think Michael told you or that we've been talking about is as the line kind of congeals or gets a little more solidified, it'll accelerate as it moves through. So that is kind of the ongoing process that's out there. I wanted to show you a little broader picture here, and then we'll go back over to Michael. I know he's queuing up some new tracks up there for you. And this is the composite view. So when we look at this, we're looking at all levels of the radar and over a very broad area. And you can see the main line, which we've been talking so much about, extends from about Terre Haute down here almost to Jonesboro, Arkansas. And that still has some time here before it will get all the way into the tri-state. In fact, the back edge here, assuming we're moving east at about 40, we're still looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 5 hours before it gets all the way into the central portion of the tri-state. So this is a time really to make sure you're prepared and ready to take action if a warning is issued. We simulcast when we're broadcasting, and right now we're just streaming. So the only folks that are seeing us, watching us on Facebook, of course, or on the 14 News app or 14news.com. But when we are broadcasting wall to wall, that coverage will also be simulcast on 104 FM WIKY. And it's important to share what you're experiencing. If you're getting large hail or wind damage, we need to know about that. We can then share that back to the National Weather Service, our partners here in the Weather Enterprise. You can scroll either to the bottom of the First Alert app to that Submit Photo feature, or you can go to the 14 News webpage at 14news.com and just go up here to the navigation bar to send us your photos and videos. And we get a lot of pictures during severe weather that are very helpful. Byron Douglas is standing by. Arden will be in a little later to kind of look at these pictures and tell the full weather story. We also have our interceptor. It will be out here by 5 o'clock to kind of show you what's going on. Quick rule of thumb here, lowest level in your house, away from windows, centralmost place, and that's where you want to be taking this position if you're in the path of a tornado, getting your head down low and protected. If you're in a institutional building, whether you're working today or maybe you're in a big box store, something like that, go to the designated tornado shelter areas, which tend to be bathrooms or windowless areas as well. Finally, if you're in a mobile home, we've had a lot of questions about public shelters, and you can go onto my Facebook page. You'll see a post there where people have shared where the shelters are, public shelters, and I believe our web folks have put together a list on 14news.com. So there are a lot of resources here for you at 14 News to stay safe. Right now, though, we're just kind of waiting with the warm, humid air there and the tornado watch in place for these storms to get a little more organized and move into our counties. Right now, they're just at the fringe, and these 6 counties across the top we kind of share with Terre Haute, which is actually, these are designated to their markets. So we're just kind of doing that as a courtesy. We want people to be safe, but also it gives us an idea that, yes, it is coming in. Michael, you've got the new timeline.
Model data here. We finally got a new update. We get a new update here every hour. It kind of adjusts to what is being seen on the radar. And this model's been doing a very good job at initializing these new runs. So this is the one that I've kind of been trusting the most so far. It shows those storms now pushing into portions of Clay and Wayne County. Of course, we have that thunderstorm, or a few severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings up into the northwestern corner there. But looking at how this line progresses, perhaps by around 4:30, it's going to continue to push into areas like Fairfield, and then eventually line up right along the Wabash River, perhaps around 5 o'clock this evening. As it does so, it looks like it's going to congeal into a much more solid line there. And when that happens, that's when we start to see the Boeing segments begin. That's where we start to see that damaging wind threat. Of course, we still have the hail and tornado threat along with this line of storms as well. So it's going to be pretty active here through the rest of our afternoon and into the evening hours. Once it crosses the Wabash River, it's not going to take too long for that to push into the Evansville area, perhaps by around 5:30 to 6 o'clock. That's when we could start to see those storms lining up just to our west or moving right overhead. Same for the Henderson area. Owensboro, it looks like it'll begin to push into your neck of the woods, perhaps by around 6:30, 7 o'clock this evening. And then that's going to continue to push off to the east, impacting areas of western Kentucky, down into Hartford, Madisonville, through 6 to that 7 o'clock time frame. But that's just that one line that's moving in. The models have been consistently picking up on another bulge here moving in from the west, perhaps just to the south of the Ohio River. So that'll kick up some more storms as we go into later on tonight. So perhaps around 8:30, 9 o'clock, we continue to see that rain pushing in, and eventually it'll come to an end there probably by around 11 o'clock. Jeff has some more information for us.
Okay, Michael, thanks. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag on it. That's why it's orange here, and this is for Richland and now western Lawrence County. So again, we're up along and just to the north of US 50 there in the extreme northern edge of the tri-state, and that is in advance of the same cell that Michael was showing you earlier that has been producing rotation and large hail. At least it's showing on the radar. Right now, the most impressive area of rotation is right here to the west of Olney, and you see some brighter greens and reds together there. Let's just check and see if we have any debris, possibly some debris in the air between Puritan and Noble. Now, it's important to note when we get really strong winds, it can loft up anything from, grass and leaves and things like that to more substantial debris, which would be showing in the blues. And we are seeing some of that here between Puritan and Noble. If we go back to just the velocity information there, you can see something coming together here just to the south of Puritan and to the north of Noble. Again, this is in Richland County, so way, way up in the northern edge of the tri-state. That would be out to the west of Olney. We'll do a quick track on this to give you an idea of where that is headed. And things are moving very quickly here this afternoon as well. This is actually moving out to the north at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So we'll get you the best track we can here. It kind of goes off the screen. These are going to be a lot of unfamiliar places for most viewers of 14 News, but if you're watching our stream and you live up in Richland County, that would be Olney Noble, Olney, and then Richland Memorial Hospital, just some landmarks in there, West Liberty and German, all in the path of potential damaging winds. And we'll check the hail again. I suspect we have a pretty big hail core up here as well. Right in the northern edge of the tri-state. Just to give you the picture here, I want to zoom that out a little bit more so you can kind of see where we're talking about. You kind of lose yourself in the moment here, but the bigger picture, we're still about 70 miles to the northwest of Evansville, and this is not affecting even Wayne County at this time. So we'll go back here. Just the straight reflectivity, and we do have again some stronger thunderstorms now coming up over Orchard Lake there, Sisney, and moving to the east as well. These storms are just now starting to tap into some energy that's been waiting all afternoon, and Michael's going to tell you a little bit more about that.
So we've been talking about how the atmosphere is nice and juiced up. Jeff showed you those dew points earlier, well into the 60s. We have temperature in the 70s as well, so that adds up to that instability and moisture. And of course, we have that lift with that cold front beginning to move in from the northwest, which is kind of kick-starting all of these storms here. And I just kind of wanted to show you how expansive this line of storms truly is. So not only are we seeing a section of that line pushing into Wayne and Clay County into Richland as well, but we see it extending all the way down just to the south of Springfield, Missouri as well. So it looks like this line will kind of line itself up into another segment, and that's what we'll see kind of push in through the majority of the tri-state. And then when I was showing that model earlier, I mentioned that little kick coming in from the west for southern areas, so over western Kentucky. That looks like that's what's organizing back to our west here. So again, we have several more hours of thunderstorm activity to deal with. Right now, most of the tri-state is in the clear. A lot of us are actually seeing sunshine, which is not great news because that sunshine just creates further instability. So the longer we have that sun out, the more fuel these storms kind of have to work with as they roll on through. So again, we've got quite some time here to kind of just monitor these storms. That's why we're on streaming. We're not necessarily on air with wall-to-wall coverage just yet. When we see some more tornado warnings popping up a little bit closer to the tri-state or through the tri-state, that's when we'll probably pop back up on air with wall-to-wall coverage. But again, even this line extends further to the north, all the way up towards Chicago. So we can go ahead and just zoom right back into these areas that are being impacted right now through the tri-state. Again, you can see we've got a mix of severe thunderstorm warnings that are just normal, so 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, ping-pong-sized hail are possible as these storms roll on through, and then we have that greater area with that severe thunderstorm warning and that tornado possible tag, and then of course we have that tornado warning kind of sunk in right into the middle there. So here's how that's all shaking out here. So let me go ahead and pull up just some base reflectivity here. We can get it to stop looping. And you can see we still have some pretty good strong updrafts moving now into western Richland County. Let me go ahead and take a little closer look into that particular section. Again, this is well to the north of many of the areas that our viewers are watching, but if you are in Richland or Clay County and you're watching our stream, this is some important information for you. So zooming back into that particular core of the system, it still has that little tail flick at the end there, so that's probably why we see that tornado warning still in effect. But let's go ahead and check out the velocity couplet on that, see if we can see anything a little bit more damming of rotation, but I'm not really seeing too much there. It's pretty broad. It looks like maybe that rotation's weakening up a little bit, which is perhaps why they went ahead and kind of issued that tornado tag possible ahead of this line rather than a tornado warning, but it did have at least some decent rotation about 10 minutes ago. So this is kind of what we're going to be dealing with here as this line continues to progress in from the northwest. So again, if you are in specifically Noble only up towards Preston, this is a storm, this is a severe thunderstorm with some rotation being observed. So tornado is possible. I think this tornado warning is probably going to expire once this storm moves out of that particularly warned area, and then it's going to go ahead and move into this tornado possible severe thunderstorm warning. That also includes portions of northwestern Lawrence County as well. So up towards Sumner, you want to be on the lookout for this storm as it rolls on through. Let's go back to our home view, and again, the rest of the tri-state right now looking pretty good. We have a few spotty showers across the area, but they haven't really been able to take advantage of the environment quite just yet. And maybe it seems like this main line is kind of soaking up all the energy. But let's go ahead and take a look at some webcams. I know Jeff showed it earlier. We're just seeing a lot of sunshine out there, which is great if it wasn't an impending first alert weather day. Here's out of Owensboro. You can see just some puffy cumulus clouds showing up, so that can show you the convective nature of the atmosphere without any thunderstorms actually being present just yet. So lots of sunshine. We're continuing to see those temperatures warm up as well. Many of us are sitting in the 70s. Here's a look out of the intersection of Lloyd and I-69. This is our webcam out of Deaconess. You can see some clouds out there, but some good amount of sun thrown into the mix. So again, this is all just going to continue to destabilize the atmosphere out ahead of this line of storms that's beginning to move in. Let me go ahead and take a look at those temperatures, if I have any temperatures kind of queued up here.
Here, I'll get them for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
okay,
toss
so
it over to
we'll
Jeff.
go ahead and get the temperatures out there. We're at 77 right now, 76 in Henderson, 79 in Madisonville. So very, very warm, certainly unseasonably warm for this time of the year, and very humid as well. The dew point, once it gets above 60, that just adds to the moisture and energy that we have available for thunderstorms. So it's no surprise really that we have that tornado watch ahead of that big cold front that will be moving in and flushing us with 50-degree temperatures by tomorrow. The line of storms that we've been tracking here just at our fringe here for our broadcast signal, which is why we're streaming this and not over the air just yet. Now, once it moves a little closer in here where people can pick us up over the air, then yes, we will be back over on the air. And in fact, I'm going to break in here in just a few minutes on the Gulf here with an update for our friends in southern Illinois. Fairfield, though, not even in the mix just yet. That severe thunderstorm warning out to the north. Fairfield, the county seat and most populous city in Wayne County. But, you know, we have Sisney up here, Orchard, and then coming down toward Wayne City. All these spots will be in the path of these storms within the hour. So it's time now to really buckle down and be prepared as these move in from the west. Let's check again up here. This is just in western Richland County right now, and you see the purple here. Now this is reflectivity, but that is more than likely our hail core between Preston and Denver, and it kind of comes down there just out way to the north of Olney. So that's going to pass downtown Olney. But as we look at the velocity return on here, still rotation showing, as Michael noted, it has weakened somewhat. Have another hot spot there showing up a little farther south. This would be out to the southwest of Olney. And to give your bearings here, we are near Big Creek Woods Memorial Nature Preserve, and there could be some fairly strong winds in there, bare minimum, and maybe even some rotation. And we'll check debris here to see if we have anything getting up into the radar signal into the air. This is very far out from the radar too, so this would be up, you know, several thousand feet, but there is a potential there that we could have a little bit of debris or something being lofted. It doesn't mean necessarily there's a tornado there, but we check all of these tools to make sure of what the storm is producing and what then to alert you to. And I know Michael has kind of honed in on that area here, so let's go back over to him.
Going to look again at a broader view here, reiterating a lot of the tri-state right now, pretty quiet. We're seeing mostly sunny skies with some clouds thrown into the mix. We had a few spotty showers and maybe a rumble of thunder or so across some areas of the tri-state out ahead of this main line. Luckily, they really haven't developed into much further, so that's great news. However, this line here is going to continue to push in and strengthen as it moves in from the west, because again, with that sunshine out there for several hours or more, that is really increasing our instability there. But again, I'm just going to take another broad view out of here just to show you where all these warnings are even being set up. So we've got warnings as far north as southern Michigan. That's moving just to the past of Chicago about a little bit ago, moved up through Valparaiso in northern Indiana. That's pushed off to the east there, and it's going to sag behind here and extend all the way down into northern Arkansas and southern Missouri there. So that will continue to kind of slide its way on up from southwest to northeast as the entire system itself moves in from west to east. So that's why we're seeing some volatile motion. That's why we have that tornado risk as well. Again, we're under that tornado watch till around 11 p.m. tonight, and that seems to be when most of this thunderstorm activity will be pushing to the east of the tri-state here. So we've got several more hours of covering these thunderstorms, but again, we haven't really seen too much in the way here in the core of the tri-state. We see most of these warnings well to the north, kind of on the fringe of our counties that we share with Terre Haute. So again, up towards Clay, Richland, up towards Lawrence, that's where you have that larger severe thunderstorm warning there that we can see lots of lightning with it. It's probably got a good amount of hail in there as well. I know Jeff was just showing that, so let's go ahead and check out the hail core on that. Again, kind of pushing north of Olney, just to the west of German, and then south of Smallwood there. And we can even check out the debris, the correlation coefficient there, to see if we are picking up on anything. It's kind of hard to see because it is so far away from the radar, but if we did see hail mixing down with it, this would also pick it up because it looks for different shapes and different sizes and different densities within these storms. Typically, we use that for debris, but in this case, we can look at it for hail as well. Let's go and check out those velocities and see how they're shaping up as well. Not seeing too much in the way of terribly strong winds there, but again, gusts up to 60 miles per hour are possible with that particular warning. And then if we pan farther off to our south, get a little bit closer to our radar, let me go ahead, storm relative velocity. It does look like we've got a fair amount of wind being higher up in the atmosphere there. So we could see gusts again closer to 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour. Let me go ahead and check out the wording on this warning that's moving through Wayne County. This is specifically for northern Wayne County. It looks like 60 mile per hour wind gusts, quarter-sized hail. So that includes areas like Garden Hill, Orchard, Sisney, probably even pushing into areas like Mount Erie as well. So everybody in those areas, beware, you do have that severe thunderstorm warning on the way. We'll toss it over to Jeff.
Okay, Michael, a couple other things for watching. I looked at some of the comments, people asking about the cap. Has the cap broken? Well, yes, especially over here where we see the severe thunderstorms. One thing that is positive here, at least so far, is that apparently the cap has held over the tri-state despite the sun and despite the warm and moist air. We have no thunderstorms in the remainder of the tri-state. One of our fears today was that we would get a few out here at about this time that would produce severe weather. Now, whether we will get all the way through before the line moves in is still a big question. One thing I wanted to do was kind of show you what's going on in these storms aloft. And so to do that, we're going to look at them with a three-dimensional tool. And the reason we use this is that, first of all, it helps to answer the question about the cap. We know the cap is probably in the neighborhood of maybe 10 to 15, 20,000 feet, somewhere in that ballpark. And by looking at the shape of the storm here in 3D, we can tell whether it has gotten through, and it has, where you see these cumulonimbus starting to kind of bubble up. And remember, we've got warm, moist air. Once it gets through the cap, this will rapidly grow. We can actually loop this in time, and you'll notice it'll take it a couple frames here to fully load up. One thing that we look for is the trend. Is it getting bigger or smaller? Now, there's